Please welcome to the stage, Jeremy Nunes!
How cool would it be if I walked into my house and that happened? That'd be awesome. So, man, I appreciate you guys coming out, man. What a great time this is going to be. I'm so excited, man. And everybody here just made everything so easy for me. I am so grateful. A lot of times we do these shows, and it is not easy. I was actually just driving to a show a couple weeks ago, and ended up getting lost. I had to stop and ask for directions, and I ended up at one of these tiny little gas stations where it's just the one guy in the booth with his microphone, right? And you can't hear anything he says unless he talks right into that thing. Yeah, I tell him where I need to go. He goes, oh, yeah. All you got to do, go to that stop sign there, take a left. And then you just go up. There's been a string of carjackings. That gas station got robbed down. It's right next to the prison. Hope that helped. I was like, yeah, thanks a lot. We get back to the car, my friend goes, what'd he say? I go, well, we're gonna go to the stop sign over there and take a left. After that, we probably die. But this is a cool job to have. I get to travel around. I work with a lot of comedians you see on film and TV. Some of you might actually recognize me from the movies. I'm that guy that always sits in front of you at the theater. But one of the things I don't understand about being tall is like everyone asks me if I used to play basketball, right? And I don't get it. There's nobody who walks up to a short guy and goes, hey, are you a jockey? Or nobody walks up to an overweight guy. Hey, is there a buffet around here? And it's the same conversation every time. People come up to me, they're shocked at my size. They'll walk up and go, whoa! You are tall. How tall are you? 6'6". No, you're way taller than that. Nobody does that with the overweight guy. Nobody walks up to him, whoa! You are big. What is your waist size? 68. No. You're way bigger than that. Any store I walk into, someone will stop me and ask me to get something off the top shelf. That doesn't work both ways. I can't grab some short guy walking down the aisle. Hey! I dropped my keys, why don't you pick those up? Everybody asks about my parents, want to know what my parents look like. Well, my mom is 5'6" and Italian, dad is 5'7" and Hispanic, and the FedEx guy, 6'6" and pasty white. And I've been seeing my family a lot more lately. I actually used to live in Chicago and moved back to my hometown in central Illinois, and it did not take long for weird things to start happening. I was riding along Christmas Eve, Dad's driving, got my little 5-year-old boy in the back seat. As we ride along on Christmas Eve, out of nowhere a deer hops out. Bam! Dad nails it. First thing my little boy says, Rudolph! Dad goes, don't worry, buddy, we didn't kill him. I'm pretty sure he died when he fell out of the sky. And I'm around for holidays, which is nice. I don't know if ours work like yours, but a lot of the ladies make their own dish and they bring to share. And my grandma's 87 years old, still helps out, makes her specialty, which is homemade baked beans. And after all these years, she finally revealed the secret ingredient in the baked beans: cigarette ash. You never saw food shoot out of people's mouths so fast. I have to admit, though, it does give it a nice smoky flavor. Weird stuff happens to me all the time. I do a lot of fundraiser shows. I did one fundraiser. There was a lady at the show the same height as me. I was like, this is crazy. And I wanted to say something to her, but I didn't know how to approach a situation with her being the same height. You know, I just tapped her on the shoulder. I go, hey, do you play basketball? So I'm back in the small town where I grew up, and I've learned that in the small town we have our own official sport, fishing. Yeah, we got some fishers in the audience tonight. Fishers? Nobody? No, not at all. Okay. Sir, right here, my friend. When you catch your fish, you take it home, cook it, you let it go back. You take it home, cook it? Really? I usually let it go back. I catch and release. I get it, send it back on its way. Yeah. I also do that when I hunt. I'll shoot a deer, like, go on! Go to your friends. So, shoot and release, they call that, actually. So, but anyway, a funny thing happened when I moved back to my hometown. I got elected mayor of my town. And the thing is, I ran for office as a joke. Like, I got my name on the ballot as comedian Jeremy Nunes, and my campaign slogan was, put a real joker in office. Because I was like, who would vote for that person? 80% of the town. So, I got to thinking, you see all these campaign ads on TV, people throwing mud back and forth at each other. I thought, how cool would it be if people in small town campaign races could afford TV time? Because you know the attack ads would get way more personal. So if I could afford one, I thought I'd give you my campaign ad. Mike Dombrowski's son threw the game-losing interception in the state playoff football game. Is this leadership we can trust? Mike Dombrowski's dog runs loose all over town. He doesn't even keep it on a leash. Do we want 4 years of this? Mike Dombrowski's daughter drives around town like a crazy person. She doesn't even stop at stop signs. She cray-cray. Jeremy Nunes never played high school football. He mainly just sat in the stands and made fun of people. Jeremy Nunes owns a dog. Jeremy keeps his dog on a leash. At least that's what he tells people. Jeremy Nunes has a young son. Jeremy's son doesn't run around town like a crazy person. So Jeremy keeps his son on a leash. Thank you. And I guess I did an all right job. I actually won an award for being one of Illinois' most ethical mayors. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah. It was largely because I issued a fine to my parents. I remember my dad calling me when he found out. He was like, Jeremy, why did I get this fine in the mail? I was like, well, your grass is way too high. You have to mow your grass. He goes, Jeremy, you mow our grass. I go, well, you should have called me sooner. And it was a weird job. I had to like review people's resumes that wanted to work for the town. One guy, his email address listed on his resume was bankrobber247 at AOL. I was like, how creepy is that? Obviously, I cannot hire someone who still uses AOL. And another guy was interviewing him to be our city manager, and I asked him, could you tell me the difference between a regulation and a statute? And he goes, sure, a regulation is a rule or a code you have to follow. A statute is a sculpture, like the Statue of Liberty. I hired that guy. And when you're on a city council, sometimes you got a topic you think is going to go right through, it takes all night. Other times you think it's going to take all night, goes right through. So, I asked my council to approve the purchase of 6 new picnic tables for the park. No problem, goes right through. And then I just kind of toss out there, anybody care what color we get? 2 hours! You know what color we decided on? Wood. Man, and there's always one bonehead on the city council. We had one guy on the council won $100 on a lotto scratch-off ticket, quit his job. I put him in charge of the budget. But so, I ended up not running for re-election. I just wanted to kind of focus on family and not deal with one of the biggest problems that all of our small towns have. And that is, for some reason, our small town kids think they're inner city street thugs. So I wrote this song about it. It's called Small Town Gangster. I wear my unbent hat, kicked to the side. I got spray painted rims on my 4-wheel drive. I wear saggy jeans and a white tank top. I'd say I hate the police, but my dad's the town cop. I'm a small town gangster. I lie and say I robbed a store to get my bling, but I'm prouder of my back pocket skull ring. I wear big gold chains, a flannel shirt unbuttoned. I yell thug life, then I go mudding. I'm a small town gangster. The loud music from my car makes you come unbent. I'm just trying to get home to my parents' basement. I can't drive a stick, so I won't steal your Nova. I'll break into your shed and steal your lawnmower. I'm a small town gangster. I'll chase you down a dark alley, you're done for, son. I'll pop a cap in you with my paintball gun. Soon I'll grow old from a life lived hard. I'll be that old man letting his dog duty in your yard. Why? 'Cause I'm a small town gangster, that's why. There you go, yeah, thank you. Man, so I'm back in the small town. And the best part about being back in the small town, I was able to start dating women from the small town. You know, I'm married now, happy I am. Being single, it was so tough. I remember I took this girl out on a date. Our very first date together, she told me if I ever wanted to go out with her again, I had to spend at least $200 on her that night. I go, $200? I didn't plan on spending that much on an engagement ring. And I remember our first date, we got to talk, and she had some tattoos that were like religious in nature. And she asked me if I had any religious tattoos. I said, no, but I do have a mole I say is a tattoo of a mustard seed. It's like, if you have faith just this big, you can date me. So she ended up breaking up with me. I still don't quite understand. She was mad because I wouldn't break the law for her. She's 4'8", so I made her ride in a car seat. But anyways, like I said, I'm married now. Happy I am. Man, it's a very special day today, actually, for me. Because 7 years ago today, I proposed to my wife, told her I'd make her the happiest woman in the world, and she said yes. Oh, thanks, guys. I lied to her. But we got married, and of course we had to combine all of our stuff. So what was hers is now ours. What was mine is now for sale at Goodwill. We have all kinds of stuff. We have her family stuff. My wife's grandpa played baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals. So we have a lot of old baseball memorabilia. One of the things we have is his cup. I know. And she refuses to get rid of it. She says it's part of baseball history. I grabbed it and threw it in the garbage. I was like, well, now it's history. She takes it out of the garbage. She goes, no, do not throw this away. It has value. And I'm trying not to laugh at her while she's shaking a used cup at me. And I said, I will have that thing appraised and prove to you it does not have any value. And she goes, no, do not have this appraised. I said, okay. Then she took a nap, and I had it appraised. And I take it in, and the guy goes, what year did you say he played for the Cardinals? And I was like, early 50s. He goes, okay. The company that made this cup went into business in 1984. Yeah. So we just have some guy's cup. And I can't tell my wife. She'll know I went against her orders. It's just going to keep being passed down through the family. My son will be a 4th generation cup bearer. So my wife and I have been doing different stuff, trying to have some fun. We just went to an auction for the first time. Got any auction folks here tonight? Oh yeah, all right. So we go to this auction. I've never been to one, so I get right in front, right in the middle of the action. And they're auctioning off like a shed, I think it was. And so as they're taking bids, I happen to see my buddy across the way. And I was like, hey! Yeah. So then, and then the auctioneer points at me. I was like, oh, you're gonna point at me? Point at you. How about that? Then I realized, oh, he thinks I'm bidding on this, right? So now I'm trying to politely interrupt without actually interrupting anything. Yeah. So I'm kind of watching him take bids over here, and he'd look back at me, and I was like, oh. And then I try a new strategy, because that's not working. And if you're a real auction goer, you know this isn't helping either. I'm going, I'm gonna cut this. That means half, yeah. So if he's asking 1,000, I'm saying that's 500. I'll give you 500. So I'm still bidding, even though I'm like, I'm cutting this off. So long story short, now we own the shed. So we have fun. My wife and I play a game a lot of you have probably heard of. It's called Pick What Restaurant We're Gonna Eat At. She says, this is your night. I want you to pick. I'm like, all right, let's go get some seafood. No. Steak? No. Mexican? No. Then as the guy, we say the same thing every time at this point. Right? Well, it sounds to me like you have a place in mind. If you do, that's fine. Just say where you want to go. We'll go there. No big deal. Right? Then she says the same thing back every time. Oh, I don't have a place in mind. I want you to pick. I'm like, all right, I'll keep guessing. Chinese? No. Pizza. Well, if that's where you want to go. I'm like, yeah, thank you for letting me pick. And then she drugged me to one of these escape rooms. You guys familiar with these things? Okay, all right. So if you don't know, they take you and a group of friends, they lock you in a room, and you have to solve a series of clues to get out, okay? So basically, show up, give a guy your credit card, let him lock you in a room. And we get in there, and the first clue is this voice over the sound system, and it goes, I have hands, but cannot hold. And everybody's like, what is it? What could it be? And I'm like, why am I here? Because everyone knows hands that cannot hold any riddle is a clock. Everyone knows this, not the people I'm locked in a room with. You know, my wife's friend says, I bet it's a cat. I go, what? Yep. I wonder if there's a cat in here. I tapped her on the head. I go, I wonder if there's a brain in there. I go, guys, it's a clock. Everyone knows hands that cannot hold is the clock. Check the clock. They check it. Guess what? I was right. So we work our way through the clues. We get to the final clue, and it's this huge, long, elaborate math problem. And it says, enter the answer on the phone keypad, and it's done. And everybody's like, it's too complex. We'll never figure it out. And I'm like, guys, it said enter the answer, and it's done. The answer is done on the keypad, D-O-N-E. And they go, oh, is it? Is it smart guy? Guess what? Didn't work. So eventually, we run out of time. They have to come let us out. And on the way out, just for kicks, I entered done on the keypad, and it worked. And the lady that hit the buttons originally, she's like, oh, I am so sorry. I do kind of feel like when I hit the buttons, I might hit a couple at the same time. I was like, thanks a lot, Deb. We'd already be out of here if it wasn't for you and your sausage fingers. So they sell this thing as like a bonding experience. All I know is I have way less friends now. So, we have to work together. You know that? We have to work together. My wife helps me get dressed. Right. Yeah. Anytime we're getting ready to go somewhere, she'll go, you're not wearing that, are you? I'm like, what? I always wear sweatpants to weddings. And one time, she asked for my opinion when she got dressed. And if you notice, I said, one time. She walks out of our bedroom and goes, does this outfit look weird? And I go, whoa! She's like, why would you say that? I go, you asked me. It looks weird. Like you're wearing an orange pantsuit. Like you look like an escaped convict who's about to give an important speech. So sometimes we don't even leave the house. We just sit around and watch TV. One of our shows is This Is Us. Do you guys watch This Is Us? Oh, yeah, okay. So my wife says she wishes I would be more like Jack from This Is Us. So my wife wants me dead. So still figuring out the marriage thing. Been married, what did I say, 6 years I think it is? Yeah. Sir, you married down here? How long, sir? A long time. A long time. You know what that means? That's short for, I really don't know, please don't talk to me. So I'm still learning, sir. So my question to you, would you say it's normal that you're going to have to work together to solve problems, correct? Sure, okay. So I was just telling my dad, our water heater went out. So I had to boil pots of water to dump in the tub, right, so my wife could take a bath. Right? He didn't quite understand. He's like, whoa, let me get this straight. She just lays in the tub while you pour boiling water on her? I go, yep, that's what we do. Now, would you also say, is it normal to once in a while have a small verbal disagreement? You see, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. He looks very uncomfortable. Okay. So, my wife came home from the grocery store. And she goes, I hope you're not going to be mad at me, but I bought the wrong kind of tortilla chips. I was like, how? I said you could buy any brand of tortilla chips. She goes, well, I bought unsalted. I go, get out! Then that led to a dark discussion over which of us would be in worse shape if the other one died. She goes, Jeremy, you would be lost if something happened to me. I go, you're right, I would be lost. Because I have no idea where you've put any of my stuff. She goes, yes, you do. It's at Goodwill. My wife will travel with me sometimes. I actually just got hired to perform at the national convention for a major cosmetics retailer, and you've heard of them. And my wife sells for them, so I let her come along. Now I want you to imagine, gigantic ballroom filled with thousands of women who are jacked to the max to be selling ointment and lip balm. All of a sudden, all the lights turn out, stage lights come up, and this announcer from the back goes, give it up for your company president! Then all of a sudden, they start blasting fireworks and pyro like it's the Super Bowl. They start blaring music they think is cool, but isn't anymore. It was like Jock Jams 94. This guy takes 2 steps on the stage. The women start losing their minds like they're teenage girls watching the Beatles. All right? And he's a corporate guy. He doesn't know how to react to this, right? So he just comes out, goes like this. Right? I was like, what is that? It looks like he's desperately trying to plunge a toilet, but he doesn't know how to hold the plunger. So eventually he goes into a speech, and he says that his company's going to launch a huge new marketing campaign, and everyone will know their name. And right then, there's this older lady in the back of the room, stands up with her cane, goes, it's about time! I was like, geez, lady, we don't need to start a riot over this junk. Okay. Seriously, though, if anybody's interested, I will have catalogs available after the show. And my wife's always on board, whatever we got going. I just had a small bit part in a movie that starred Kate Upton. And if you don't know Kate Upton, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model who's made millions of dollars, married to a famous baseball player who has also made millions of dollars. Right? And I get back from filming, and I tell my wife it was great. And at one point, I got to hang out in the green room with just Kate Upton, and she was very nice to me. And my wife goes, wait a second. You were alone with her? I cannot believe you would put yourself in that situation. I was like, well, I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Like I'm talking to her, and she just interrupts me like, whoa, wait a second. Are you the Jeremy Nunes? The comedian with tens of followers on Twitter? We just took a trip down to Disney. You guys know Disney? D-I-D-N-E-Y? You guys familiar with that one? Yeah? It's a legal thing. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah. We went to Disney. And so, what a blast, right? When you go, I feel like the first-timers have no idea what to expect. So I feel like they should just gather all the first-timers in a room, play a video to let them know what they can expect. It's like, hey, everybody! Thanks for joining us here at Disney. Before we get started, there are a few things you need to know. First, many of you will want to wait in line to meet your favorite character. Just remember, you'll wait in line in the sun for an hour. Then, when it's your turn to meet me, it'll be my turn to take a break. Now, a lot of you will want to walk around and get on your favorite ride. You know how at Six Flags they have those directional signs that tell you which way to go? We don't have those. You'll be forced to ask directions from an angry teenage employee who always looks at you like you're crazy because you're on the complete wrong side of the park. But don't worry, your smartphone will tell you you walked 12 miles. Exercising is mouse-cursizing. M-O-U-Z, cursizing, for legal purposes. Now, I see several of you have strollers. You'll need to park your stroller in a designated stroller parking area and leave it there for the 2 hours you wait in line. Hope nobody steals it. Now, the designated stroller parking area is inconveniently located several blocks from the ride you'll be on. Now, you may see a group of strollers parked together. This is not necessarily a designated stroller parking area. But don't worry, if you park it there illegally, one of our angry teenage employees will move it without telling you. Then when you get off your ride, you'll find out you have to search through thousands of strollers to find yours. It's magical! Now, all this walking around could leave you thirsty. But don't worry, we have plenty of ice cold soda available for just $12. But remember, when you get on a ride, even those slow-moving kid rides, you'll be forced to throw it away. You'll get the experience of throwing $12 right into the garbage. Now, there are plenty of places to eat. I recommend my restaurant, Chef Miggy's. That's M-I-G-G-I-E. Where kids eat free. How much do the adults cost? We're not telling you that. But don't worry, we have paramedics on standby for when you look at your check. We're known to have numerous occurrences of what our legal team calls significant cardiac situations. Now, before you leave, you'll want to pick up a souvenir at one of our shops. Standard retail markup is about 75%. But here at Disney, since we're magical, our markup is 400%. But you'll buy it anyway because you're stressed, you're tired, and the last thing you need is your kid mad at you because you didn't buy him what he wanted. So thanks for having a good day here at Disney. Have fun. Bye-bye. We had a good time at Disney, and we flew out of one of the local small-town airports. I don't know if I should say which one. I wish I could give you an indicator. And for legal purposes, I in no way am implying Decatur. But I will say it smelled. So we show up at the small town international airport. Our flight left at 6 a.m. We get there at 5 a.m. The airport is locked. This lady comes running up, jiggling the keys. She's like, I'm so sorry. We're just now opening. I'm so sorry. She's like, if you go right over there, I'll check your bags. And I was like, that's weird. The same lady who unlocks the building is going to check our bags? So we go up there, and the lady asks us how much we weigh. And I'm like, why do you need to know how much we weigh? And she's like, well, you're flying on a very small aircraft, and it has a weight limit, so we have to take strict precautions to make sure the plane doesn't go down. I go, oh, and by strict precautions, you mean believe people when they tell you how much they weigh. I was like, yeah, nobody lies about their weight. I was like, I just lied about my weight at the doctor's office. I was getting a physical. They asked my approximate height and weight. I was like, I'm 6'6", 213. And so, get our bags checked. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll make our way over to security. And she's like, well, security's not open just yet. I was like, all right, I'll hang out. So it's me, my wife, one other guy. Same lady. Walks over, grabs a TSA hat, grabs the mic. The TSA security checkpoint is now open. There were 3 of us. I mean, she could have just said, hey guys, come on over. Right. But so we get into security, and the guy goes in front of me, and security lady asks him, where are you headed? He goes, I'm going to Philadelphia for a few days. And she goes, oh, okay, do you have any toiletries with you, like toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo? And the guy goes, nah. And out loud I go, ew! My wife's like, Jeremy. I was like, I'm sorry, but that is the first time somebody ever made me think to myself, I hope I'm up to date on all my shots. So we work our way through security, and she says, we can have a seat at our gate. And I was like, well, how do I know which gate? She's like, which gate? The gate. And they use that term pretty loosely. It's basically a card table and 2 folding chairs. So I have a seat. And same lady walks over, opens the door to the back parking lot. Was that your plane right out there? Head on over. I was like, wait, so we just walk right out onto the parking lot / runway? She's like, yeah, head on over. I was like, okay, so I looked both ways for cars and planes. And I get on the plane. And I had an aisle seat, but I was able to see out the window because in this particular plane, the aisle seat was also a window seat. And what do I see? But the same lady who unlocked the building, checked our bags, got us to security, got us to the gate, got us on the plane, out there with her neon sticks. That's why! Then the plane wouldn't start. She ran up and flipped the propeller. And the other guy on the plane leans over and goes, hey, did you know if the pilot's sick, she can fly the plane? So anyway, we try to travel when we can. We got the 2 little ones now, it's a little tougher. But I think I mentioned, I got a 5-year-old boy, 1-year-old girl. And my wife makes me nervous, because anytime she's gonna try to get the girl to take a nap, my wife says she's gonna put her down. I'm like, last time I heard that, my dog didn't come home. My little girl, I just had her up against me, kind of hugging her, and I felt her put her arms around me and hug me back. It was very special, first time I've ever felt that, And right then, she pulled out my shirt, puked down my chest. Anybody else have little ones out here? Little one? Do you guys have little? How old are yours?
21 and 17.
21 and 17. Oh, that's not little. What are you talking about? Oh, you've been there. Got any little ones? Yeah, 21. Yeah. Do what? Wait till I get to 21. Is it way worse? Okay, so right before they were potty trained, when they were in diapers, how did you check your 3-year-old if you might have had a dirty diaper? You sniff it. Does this work in any other situation? You do that at work? Like, oh, it smells terrible in here, Greg. You didn't have an accident, did you? And then Greg's like, no, of course not. I'm like, I don't believe you. Come here, Greg. I'm going to have to smell you. And having these little ones, man, they got me acting older. I know that. Oh. If you remember, back in the day, you used to get all your free cell phone minutes after 9 o'clock at night. So that's when I made my phone calls. Now, if somebody calls me after 9 o'clock, I'm like, who's calling at this time of night? My little boy, he's already got friends that have cell phones. And my wife's like, do we need to talk about cell phones? And I was like, cell phone? When I was a kid, I was lucky to have a cordless phone. And you remember the tiny antenna on those things, right? She'd walk around, hello! I can't hear you! And then my boy, he spends a lot of his day, he'll just lay on the couch, flipping the channels. And I'm like, how easy does he have it? When I was a kid, I was the remote. Remember? He'd stand up there, change a channel for Dad, turn the volume up a little bit. And way back, you had to move the bunny ears for him, too. Remember? And it was the weirdest thing. I would move the bunny ears for him. The CBS station, if it came through just right, it would make my left eye shoot straight in. It was so weird. I'd be holding it. My dad would go, there it is, right there, don't move. And I'd be like, oh! Oh! That's hard when it's a half-hour show. So, in other moments, my son is super energetic. You know, we're just playing out in the yard, had one of those like rubber dodgeball things, we're bouncing it, rolling it back and forth. And out of nowhere, he just decides he's gonna run straight for the road. So I start chasing after him, and I realize he's gonna get to the road before I can get to him. There's a car coming. So I took the ball, nailed him with it. And now I can say I hit my kid with a dodgeball for his safety. You think back when your kids were little, not teens, you get little, right? Did you have to go to the doctor all the time with them? Sometimes, yeah. Oh, we were at the doctor's office all the time. We were just in there. We thought my son had a concussion because some guy hit him in the head with a dodgeball. And he's always got something to say. He was running around the house, wreaking havoc. And he's just laughing and laughing. And as he's doing it, we're trying to get him to stop. He won't stop. And eventually I catch him. And I put my hand on him. And I look right in the eyes. And I go, son, nobody's laughing. And he goes, yep, just like your show. I didn't even say anything. I was like, that was pretty good. He's always got something to say. You wanted to be done with his food? And I said, nope, you did not eat all your vegetables. You're not done. And my wife goes, yeah, don't you want to be big and tall like Daddy? And he goes, well, I want to be tall, but Dad is freak tall. I ate just the right amount. And everybody always tells us, don't worry, whatever he's going through, he'll grow out of it. I'm like, I sure hope so. I can't imagine him being on a date in high school for the first time. And he comes back to the table and the girl's like, hey, I got us a dessert. I thought we'd split it. And he's like, no, it's mine. Or she says, tell me about your day. What'd you do? And he's like, well, I don't want to brag, but I went potty. In my pants. Twice. No, it was 3. It was 3. So, he'll travel with us sometimes. My dad actually just took me and my son to WrestleMania. And we're sitting right on the aisle, right where the wrestlers pass through. And this wrestler named The Undertaker is walking through. And if you don't know, Undertaker is like 70, still wrestling. Okay? And I'm just having fun. I yell over at him, hey, Undertaker, time to retire, old man. And he stops. He walks right up to me and he goes, what did you say? And I go, it was that guy. My dad's like, I did not say that. No. It was that little boy. And we wanted to get out of there and not get stuck in traffic. So we rush out. We're the first car out of the parking lot, and the lady directing traffic stops us. And we keep having to wait and wait and wait and wait. And eventually my dad is so frustrated, he just goes, as soon as she waves us through, I'm gonna gun it. I don't even care. And right then, there's 2 people walking in front of the car. Lady waves us through. Dad slams on the gas. And these 2 people have to dive out of the way like they're rodeo clowns. And my dad is so frustrated, he just yells out, move it, or tonight you meet Jesus. I was like, Dad, could you watch what you say in front of my kid? He goes, hey, he's heard worse. I was like, yeah, from you. Since I'm a comedian, he's always trying to give me jokes, and his jokes never make sense. And he always acts like he's smoking a cigarette, even though he doesn't even smoke at all. So I thought I'd give you guys my dad giving me a joke. You know how the phone company sends you a phone book? Then 2 weeks later, another company sends you a phone book. Like you didn't already have one. Huh? Who's with me? This is the same guy who drives around town playing a tape recording of an ice cream truck just to see kids chase him. And he just gave me his gun. I was like, Dad, I don't see a safety lock on here. Does this thing have a safety? He goes, yeah, don't pull the trigger. Go, who's with me? And I love that taking Mexican restaurants. He does the same thing a lot of you guys do. Suddenly feel the need to show off your Spanish speaking skills. He'll get his food. Mucho gracioso biblioteca. He'll look at me. Who's with me? I'm like, don't drag me into this. So, anytime I'm in front of an audience, I always try to take a moment to find a way to educate, motivate, inspire. And so, this first tip is to motivate you. And that is that you are unstoppable if you stay united. Whether that's your church or your school, your town, your community, whatever it may be, you're unstoppable if you stay united. And there are so many quotes about it through history. United we stand, divided we fall. Aaron Burr. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Abe Lincoln. Do what we say or we'll beat you up. United Airlines. So, we of course are in Illinois tonight. So some of you may be aware of this, for our viewers at home may not know, but in Illinois, the Illinois State Police are giving away $100 rewards for anyone who calls and turns in a drunk driver on the road. For that very reason, I'm now $100 richer. My dad no longer speaks to me. So, what a great night. I'm so honored to be here. I've been doing comedy 17 years. And, oh, thanks, guys. Yeah. 17 years. About for the first, roughly 10 years, I was a single guy in my 20s out on the road and fell into a lot of the stuff that you might imagine a single guy in his 20s to fall into. And the thing is, I still found a way anytime I could to get back in church and pretend to be somebody I wasn't. And so, to give you a little example, I was at church and the preacher asked me to fill in because the person who taught the kids that day was not there. And I was like, I don't know how to do that stuff. And he goes, oh, all you got to do is read it. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll read it to him. So I'm in the classroom with the kids, and I'm like, okay, so this happened to Job, and then that happened to Job. And, one of the kids looks at me and goes, it's Job, stupid. I was like, I didn't know there was going to be name calling. He goes, yeah, and you're bald. I was like, well, I'm glad you're in church, because you need Jesus. But so, as I was touring the road, I got signed by a college agent who told me to cancel all the shows on my calendar so I could work exclusively for him because he was going to make me a star. And obviously that did not work out, so hello, Illinois. But so, eventually he stopped paying me, so we went our separate ways, and I tried to get the money any way I could and just would not work out. And so I was in a tough situation for a comedian because the only guy hiring me is not paying me anymore, so I have no income. The only people that used to hire me won't hire me anymore because I canceled shows on them, so I got nowhere to go. So I started doing church shows and corporate events because I could work clean. So that was my first step into the clean world of comedy. Now, about this time, this girl messages me online. I start dating her. And as I'm dating her, the woman who's now my wife messages me. So I liked both, so I dated both at the same time. I know. So I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to be with, so I ended up deciding, I know what I'll do. I'll tell each of them about the other, and surely one of them will get mad and break it off, and then my decision is made. So I do. I tell each of them, and they both say the same thing. Oh, it's okay. You'll figure it out. I was like, somebody make a decision! But so eventually I could tell that they were both getting tired. They were ready for me to make a choice. So I had picked up a part-time job working security just to make ends meet until I get comedy going again. And while that was going on, I was working in front of the monitors that night, and I could tell, like I said, I knew they were getting close to being frustrated, so I started praying about the whole thing. And I was supposed to be watching the monitors. A lot got stolen that night. And I got this overwhelming feeling I needed to go to the woman who is now my wife, make her my girlfriend. So I did. And I found out later she was so frustrated that she was actually going to break things off with me the next day. Crazy, right? So, of course, it works out. We end up getting married. And all the money that was owed to me by that college agent, we finally get it after we were married. And I think the reason is, even though it was due to me a long time prior, the Lord knew I would have done some dumb stuff with that money. But instead, we were able to pay off our debts, bring a child to this world. So, oh, thanks. Yeah. So, when we got married, I remember standing on the stage of the church, watching my bride walk down the aisle, and I started crying because I could not believe someone would love me so much that they would forgive me for all of my past and just accept me for who I am. And that's exactly how Jesus feels about each and every one of us. Amen? Amen. So I tell you all of that to tell you this. The power of prayer is amazing. And so, my wife just told me this, that when she was single, she was so tired of having her heart broken that she would pray and pray and pray that she would never have another first date again until it was her final first date. And one by one, every date she had scheduled fell through until the day I was there. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. I just found this out. And I go, so does that mean on that first date, when you saw me in that doorway, did you think, there stands my future husband? And she said, no. I thought, does he play basketball?
I hope you guys had a great time. God bless you. Jay, we gotta take it.